Hey, this is another episode of your average esports podcast. We're back. I actually have no idea how far away we were, but there's been a lot of news, but we're going to skip through parts of it. I'm only going to pick up on interesting things that are funny to me. And so this is going to be a very quick topic, but basically, if you are a pro player, you got to watch out for the meals, you got to watch out for the food, you got to watch out for the pizzas. Basically, it started off with Ohio and Fnatic. He got pizza partied the shit out of by Fnatic. And then he got pizza partied again by LFY.
LFY.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, surely that must be the end of it. Not really, because basically Agilities from LA Valiant, an Overwatch team, there's like this documentary. It's actually pretty good. Basically, they go to In and Out, and then Noah Winston, the CEO of LA Valiant, talks to him. Was like, "This is your last chance. Succeed or die." I was like, "Oh Jesus, okay, Mafia," but sure, I respect that. And then I thought, surely this is over, but no, it's not over. Basically, London Spitfire did the exact same thing to Fisher. He was eating his meal one day, went up to him, and then said, "Get the fuck out. You have 3 hours to get out." It's like, "Oh, I was eating my food. Get the fuck out. You're going to LA Gladiators. Never come back again." And so Fisher went on to basically start his revenge story of Count of Monte Cristo or Gladiator or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And now we'll go on to things we can actually talk about, which aren't just jokes.
But hey, if you're an esports pro, you gotta buy your own meals, shut yourself in, make sure that nobody can talk to you while you're eating.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah, basically, people are literally too awkward to like tell you straight up. So
Yeah.
you will survive longer that way. Now, let's go to CSGO. There is a few things I guess to talk about. Last week, the V4 tournament happened, smaller tournament. Some pretty good teams, but basically there's only three things to note, and I'm pretty certain Skim didn't watch it, and I've watched parts of it. Basically, Mihu as an entry fragger is doing very well for Virtus Pro, and him and like Pasha, and I think Pasha, even though he fell off in 2018 and towards the end of 2017, I thought he was their best player for 2017. So with the two of them going off, they actually have a chance, and Neo as the leader is much better than Neo as a random player. So there you go. That's some hope in that dark abyss for Virtus Pro. Second thing you should know is FaZe are super chokers. And basically they are like the most confounding team. They are the best team in the world still, but they are one of the most underwhelming teams that have been the best in the world.
It
feels like, right? And then of course Mouse wins another one, and Mouse is like I won't put them as like number one yet, but they are the closest to take over the throne, so to speak.
I think if anything for mouse sports, this is the kind of thing that it's just sort of like a boost of confidence. Really, Obviously it's nice money. It's like what was the price pool? It did have some money involved.
Yeah, basically it's a smaller event, but it's like a shitload of money because they got a lot of talent. Basically 200,000. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. And I don't know. I think it's just important for mouse sports at this point to just sort of like get the like this is kind of what the FaZe kind of would need, right?
Yeah.
FaZe need titles.
Yeah, and Mouse is getting them.
This tournament would have been super important for FaZe just to like get a confidence boost. Hey, we can win titles. We're like a title-winning team.
Yeah,
but nope, it's just mouse sports.
Yeah, basically, I think after this EPL season, where the roster lock is over for them, at least, I think a roster change might happen, but we'll see. Speaking of roster changes, basically, we're going to go to Brazilian Counter-Strike, and for those who don't know, because maybe you just follow Dota or whatever, basically everybody was telling me SK are going to be the chosen ones. This is that dynastic period, because they basically in the first four tournaments like won almost all of them, and then the worst one they had was like a drop in the top four against Nip Magic at IEM Oakland or something. Now, everybody was telling me this. They are going to be the ones. They are going to be the dynasty or whatever. Turns out that was all false. It was all a lie, and they have gone downhill to the worst slump ever. You can actually read about it in my article, Anti-Fragility and the Black Swan, which is using an economic model to explain what the fuck is happening to SK. Now, besides all of that, there was a report by Nell. Basically, Simple and Flamey were in talks to join SK in what would be the most ambitious crossover of all time.
It would have been the super team.
It's actually literally more super than the other super team. Like,
yes.
like we have like ridiculous expectations of FaZe. Like these expectations are like if you even get second, that's actually a failure. If you had that team, that's a straight up failure.
It would have been absolutely insane. Not only, I think one of the biggest things about it is the fact that we're looking at a period where we're probably going to push the boundaries of nationalities.
Yeah.
CS as a game, I think more so than most other games. Well, at least in comparison to Dota, right? It has definitely stuck to like nationality.
Yeah, it's actually way more than every other like team game I know.
We always talk about the French shuffle, the Danish shuffle, the Swedish shuffle, because effectively these teams just shuffle within one another or within their own region or country or whatever. But for this team, it would have been super insane. I mean, it is going to be insane because they are going to do it, or at least something where they are not going to have another Brazilian player or a Portuguese-speaking player on the team. Instead, they are looking to expand. They're looking to English-speaking players.
Yeah.
It would have been super insane. The same with the Simple and Flame, of course. You know, two people that are used to speaking Russian or even Ukrainian or whatever to play competitively. Now expanding into an English-speaking team, that would like if once those boundaries are pushed, like imagine all the teams that could exist in the world, right?
Yeah,
like, imagine all the Shocks and Kenny S's that could join all the other teams suddenly.
Yeah, basically Kerrigan like predicted this when he joined FaZe because he himself knew that as a leader, he was going to take that team to the top. He did take that team to the top. And every other CSGO team would be like, wait, I can do that too. And so that's why I called him like the pioneer in that sense. Oh. But I always thought it'd be very hard to do it the way that Kerrigan did it because he's doing it with like 5 different countries. But this one's just like 2 different countries. Obviously, Simple himself has done that trip before. Back when nobody in Ukraine was willing to touch him, he met his one true love, Hiko, and Hiko gave that brother a leg up, and then beat the shit out of Navi in that major playoffs, made a miracle, and then Navi was like, Jesus Christ, we have to get Simple back, and now here we are with Simple hard carrying them and realizing it was all a mistake. I should have stuck with true love, should have stuck with Hiko, or whatever he's thinking. But basically, he didn't think that. He basically rescinded the offer at the last moment or something. Nobody's really sure about the details. And because like whether or not it was going to happen soon, whether it was going to happen like 3 months when supposedly the SK contracts run out and they join MIBR, which is funny because now that they're made in Brazil, they are getting them imports. But Simple was out. And
Simple is unfortunately out. It's cool though that we got to witness this sort of process because a lot of times these sort of like crazy roster transfers don't really get leaked that way or that early.
Yeah.
But I think unfortunately in CS we currently have like this hive of sort of like investigative journalists. Like we have, apart from Decay, we also have like you mentioned Nell. There was somebody else as well.
Yeah.
Breaking these kind of things, and it's really cool to see because this happens regularly in other sports as well, of course, right? Like the what ifs. I know that Decay started like his own series as well, writing like or
the what ifs,
the what ifs, the kind of like rosters that could have potentially that were in the talks at some point.
Yeah, he should write one about Simple and SK. We could have won everything.
Anything could happen really.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool because, like, for all we know, like imagine if nobody reports on this and then in a couple of years we figure out, this could have happened. You're like, I guess that could have been cool, but I feel like
it feels way more urgent now, doesn't it?
Yeah. It feels also more realistic in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately that's not happening. But something else might be happening.
Here's a funny tidbit, I guess. I'm not sure if you ever watched it, but GB James, the former Liquid coach, and the coach during like the first period of the Hiko Simple love saga, basically he says this interesting line. He basically says, "I think we could have got Simple to stay at NA despite him wanting to leave, and all they had to do was have Hiko like." Say to him, I love you, please stay, we need you. Like something really emotional like that. And it kind of makes sense because basically Peacemaker kind of like confirms like Simple as a person is super emotional. Like from day to day, he was like, you were all shit, I'm the greatest, get the fuck out of my way. And the next day he's like, I'm sorry, I'm a terrible teammate, please forgive me. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Basically, there's like a bunch of crazy shit. Now that was 2 years ago. I'm sure Simple has mellowed out a little bit by then. But I wouldn't be surprised if like that happened. Like, who knows? Or it could have just been because he certainly is somebody who wants to play with his family. And he, as a player, is... Who knows exactly what he's thinking. But maybe he's just thinking, I want to beat coldzera. I don't want to join coldzera. Maybe. But he was about to join coldzera, so who knows?
there, there's, for all we know, maybe there's like a better offer in terms of not necessarily. I mean, it sounds crazy, but maybe in like from his perspective, there's a better offer in terms of like what teams they could build. Maybe he doesn't have too much faith in like this sort of like cross nationality team. Team up right now.
That's a fair point.
I think it's totally fair because obviously it would be completely new to both parties, right? Playing in this sort of like a scenario, and maybe in his mind, like him and Coldzera are not actually like a good match in a team.
But maybe it's just him and Fur, because him and Fur played very similar.
So either way, I mean, hopefully the new Navi hopefully he just picks up a good team, because right now this Navi team is underwhelming.
Yeah, basically, my entire plan for Navi, like to go on a side tangent, is they have to kick out Edward, they have to kick out one other guy. I don't care which one it is. It could be Electronic or Flamey, and then they get a Dren and Hobbit. That's my plan. That would be my plan.
Ooh. Sounds juicy.
Right? But moving on, I guess here's some context. Basically, SK, the reason they're doing this is because they've basically tried out everybody in the Brazilian scene. FNX is amazing. I'll give him that. But he doesn't work in the team culture of SK, because these guys want to grind. These guys want to be the best all year round. FNX can maybe do it like 3 months out of the year max, or whatever it is. So he's out, and he was probably their best player. Taco, he's out, basically. Like, he's not good enough anymore, or he's too tired of it, whichever version you want to believe. Bolts was about to be out because they already tried him, and like he's getting worse, but he still has the mentality, so they're keeping him for now. And then after that, Steel is in Liquid, and guess what? Liquid is a better team. Why would he leave? And also, like, there's the contract buyout for him must be very high because he just joined. And then, who else is there? KNG? No, get the fuck out. That's not gonna work. You can't get Henny and Lucas because they're twins. They're a package deal. You already tried Phelps. Basically, there's nobody else in Brazil.
And the twins have their own issues themselves as well, right?
Yeah, basically, they already got kicked from their new team, the Villa Mix.
Yeah.
The Villa Mix. The nightclub mix. Whatever version you want to call it. So basically, they have reached out to everybody, and now it is Stewie 2K.
And I feel like, so I think the general idea for SK right now anyway is like, we're ready to explore outside of the Portuguese borders, so the Brazilian borders, or whatever you want to call it. And I think this is a perfect time to do it as well, if all things considered, because as we talked about earlier, FaZe might be the best team in the world, but they're not like a title contender. Or no, they are a title contender, but they choke.
They're not truly a title contender, but they are.
They're not truly a title contender because they basically give up.
Yeah, themselves. Like the FaZe conundrum. The FaZe conundrum.
So what you're facing at the moment in the world, like in terms of like best teams, it's like, I mean, a couple of weeks ago maybe you could have argued for Cloud9, but everybody knows like
Cloud9 basically was a fluke. Like
was a
by now,
right?
Right?
Miracle run. Yeah, by now we know that that was a miracle run. We have Liquid, and then I guess Mouse Sports.
Yeah, Mouse Sports, and maybe Fnatic if you want to put them there.
Maybe Fnatic. I guess it's 3 teams, but all of them have their own issues. They're rather shaky. They're definitely not untouchable. So if you're SK, I think you could definitely experiment in that regard and be like, all right, let's try this out. Let's try this out. If we feel comfortable playing with a person that doesn't speak our language, do we feel comfortable making calls in English? And why not get somebody who's like, I mean, just skill-wise, probably one of the best players also in the world.
There's a few things to think about. Basically, if they're going from the NA scene, I actually think the best fit would have been Elige, because he's learning Portuguese.
Well, but of course,
but Elige is part of Liquid, and Liquid's doing very well, so why would he leave at this point? Like, that's a mistake. As for Stewie actually knows. He should know by now, at least. Cloud9 is not improving. Absolutely not improving. And so this is the best time to do it, right?
I mean, there's no way that team could ever become better than what they were at the major.
Yeah.
So there's no reason actually to stay with that team if you have ambitions to keep winning titles.
Yeah. And he has those ambitions, right? And basically, if I was SK, I probably would have gotten the Stewie 2K in automatic deal. Apparently that was like leaked on Brax's like stream, where like automatic was like, yeah, I told Stewie to leave without me because he wants to stay. Fair enough. But basically, it's just going to be Stewie. It's going to be Bolts. And Stewie, at least from what we know outside, he mentally fits with the team because this is a guy who wants to improve. This guy who wants to win. And he's not fully there yet. But he certainly has a mentality. So I can see why they picked him up. But I think they're gonna have to do it very soon because the next big tournament is Marseille, and that's in like a few weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
But honestly, picking up Stewie, I think would be a good move.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's gonna be enough, really. Um,
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
after they pick up, I feel like after they pick up Stewie, they're like one move away from having like a. I mean, I think everybody would agree that the tricore is not something you would change, right?
Yeah, for Cold Fallen
and Fallen Rain.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if they just have one more change, that's like another title contender probably.
Yeah,
but I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm. Like basically, they were like discussing all different possibilities. So we'll see. We'll see. Like basically, they're basically open to anybody who's willing to put in the work.
Right.
And Taco's already found a new team or something, but he himself is actually a very good player. Like I think if you put him in FaZe, I think FaZe actually starts winning titles.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised though, like you said, that FaZe is probably going to wait with roster changes for at least after
EPL. Yeah. All right. So moving on, we're gonna go to Dota 2, and now there is a lot of things to talk about in Dota 2. So
it's a lot of things. It's funny because in CS it's like such a quiet season right now, like a lot of like online tournaments, qualifiers, and then it's gonna get crazy later on.
Mm-hmm.
In Dota right now, up until pretty much TI, it's just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, all the way to the fucking end.
We have like DAC coming out with like a huge ass event. I don't know. There's so many tournaments going on. It's crazy.
But first, we are going to talk about a move near and dear to your heart. Kyle has been kicked from Complexity. Pizza party, if you would.
I'm not actually sure if he got any pizza, but
man, that's fucked up. At least Eternal Enemy would give you pizza. I'm just saying.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Did you see the Cold POV episode?
Yeah, I saw the Cold POV episode, and I read the read the message. Basically, like Beef is like on the verge of tears the entire time. So certainly there's a lot of love between them, but sometimes you just have to go another way.
I mean, it's kind of crazy though, right? Because like he said, he pretty much just. I remember because Beef told me at the time, or not at the time, but shortly after, he just bought Kyle a compendium. It was back in what 2014.
Yeah.
He just bought him a compendium to lure him into Dota. Basically, he's like, "Yo, check this out. This is what you're missing out on. Play this game." And Kyle. There's a lot of things you can criticize about Kyle, but ultimately Kyle in his first season qualified for TI, made into the upper bracket actually of TI as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he placed what 9th to 12th.
Yeah, something like that.
And I don't know, has consistently been at like a lot of LAN events, and he's like, well, he did kind of lose the wild card at TS6, but we don't talk about that.
Listen, man. I keep telling everybody. I told everybody in the Complexity lineup, or I should have. Just need a notepad. Say ban Meepo against
ban Meepo.
Yeah. Just had one thing.
Who knows how different our lives be if we had Ben Meepo at the time?
Yeah, maybe he could be a TI champion.
No, it was. I think if you watch the statement, and I think if you read the written statement, honestly, I think you can get a good picture of why the kick happened the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
It's so confusing to me because a lot of people just like, oh, why is it so vague? Just tell us what really happened. And like, I feel like you can definitely read it. There were definitely personality conflicts. I think I think at this point it's been pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think in terms of like individual skill and even like the way he drafts, I'm not entirely sure. At least from my perspective, and this is literally I've not talked to the team at all about any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So for all I know, this is not right. But I think the way at least they played Dota, the way they drafted Dota, in my opinion, Kyle was a good leader in terms of like that regard. Like I think he still is. And he could probably like Beef said, if there's a right set of personalities around him, I think he has the potential to lead like a top 8 team, top 6 team in the world. But I think that's where the issue, like the big issue, is obviously, personality wise. But in terms of like gameplay wise, I think Kyle was always kind of sort of on top. I mean, there's a reason why he consistently outdrafted opponents, sort of like PPD style esque, or actually not really PPD style, but. Whenever Kyle plays a team twice, the second time around, he's going to be so much better prepared, and like he's almost going to outdraft them. You could tell Bucharest Major against who was it, Mineski.
Yeah.
So they played Mineski at Katowice and then in Bucharest, and you could tell second time when they played in Bucharest, he was so fucking prepared for that team, and he knew how to exactly play against that team. And that's, I think, one of his biggest strengths, that he's like just putting in so much effort into it. But obviously, it just didn't work out personality-wise with this team.
Yep. And so now Complexity is on the run, so to speak. They have to figure out who's going to be their fifth.
It's honestly, it's so tough finding a captain at this point.
There are no good captains.
Not only a good captain, but like you need like a good 5-position support that has the same idea of how to play Dota, and then ideally can make a lot of calls in the early game. I'm not sure if they're looking for a new captain, because the way I see it, I think it's going to be Moo captaining together with Z-Freak. So basically, it's just going to be like a bit of a shared sort of like concept. Again, this is just me from watching the games, really. But yeah, it's difficult finding a proper replacement.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that's probably not going to work in the long run. Very few players can transition into captaincy. Basically, it's like an all-in move. Like there is something as like a 5 rule, but there is also something like the captain rule. And if you don't seriously pick it up, like basically Crit didn't seriously pick it up, or perhaps like the rest of the EG team didn't like seriously give it to him. Like, yeah, you can win off of skill. If you're like incredibly skilled like Sumail was, you can win. But when push comes to shove, when that pressure is coming down, you just don't have any answers left.
I think you also need a certain personality type that demands sort of like authority in a lot of ways. And I think one of the best examples of how it works out is basically Misery.
Yeah.
He always had that personality trait. Like, he's always had that vocal sort of like almost dominant kind of type. At least the way, just watching him play, he was very animated, very vocal, very very shot callery-ish already before he was a captain. And then he's like, oh, I never really wanted to be a captain and stuff like that. And
but now he is.
I always thought he had the sort of like the type to be one. And I think, I'm not sure if that applies to Mu or Zach or Z-Freak. So
it's hard to say because you don't really know until it happens.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll see. But for now, they have Kitrak as a. I'm not actually sure if it's a stand-in tryout, whatever. But again, it's really difficult finding somebody NA-wise, especially to sort of like lead this team.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been sort of like discussing like what kind of other 5-position supports are available, like Saksa. I think I'm not sure if he's actually available, but like he's not on like a prominent team, so he would be subject to like poach or whatever. I think Saksa could be a cool idea because he's probably one of the most skilled 5-position players that is sort of like not on the top team right now. Yeah. But honestly, like, it's really grim right now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, though, for Complexity, I think, like, honestly, at this point, all you need to play for is TI qualifiers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, this is where there's like an even playing field. Like, if you're not the top 8 team, screw it. Then you at least can still play for qualifiers. You don't have to kind of worry about the next couple of weeks, really.
Yeah.
You only want to need to improve and work towards one goal, and that's TI qualifiers.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Complexity has to play for TI qualifiers because they can't get any points anymore because they disqualified themselves with the kick. But
so did LFY, I believe. Basically kicked out Ohio for Inflame. Ohio knew it was coming, though. I mean, Inflame was like literally sitting behind him the entire time. Do you feel like playing today, Inflame? Like, no, not today. I was like, oh, thank God. Next day, I feel like, oh, fuck. And that's how that kick happened, basically, in my mind.
I'm not even sure why he sort of like withdrew at all. It doesn't make any sense.
He just felt like it, and then like he was so good, like they're like, fuck it, just come back.
I think somebody said that he obviously has like a kid with with Ruru, so maybe that's one of the reasons why. But I mean, I feel like he could have still finished at half year. Like, what's the point of playing? If anything, wouldn't you want to take a break after TI?
Yeah, I think that's when you take the break.
Yeah, that's when you take the break, and then leading the half year leading up to TI, you play again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so
basically, kind of obvious to me that he would come back. I think it's the right move.
Yeah.
I still think this is a very underwhelming team because effectively now this is the same team that was super underwhelming, super bad after TI, except they got a worse captain and a worse 5-position support player in Oyao now.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, I think they're out. Now let's talk about tournaments because there's basically 3 that happened in between this one and the last one. So I won't go through every result, but we'll go through some of the general points PGL Bucharest happened with Swiss system best of one.
Yeah, I think our last show covered the group stage. I want
Yeah,
to say.
we covered the group stage probably. And VGJ Thunder. What do you think of this team? Because I think they're very good, but I think they are true choke artists in the way not even newbie, could have replicated.
True choke artists indeed. I will say that, to be fair, at least if you look just at this final, right? If you complete isolated from other results, Virtus.pro has always had a really good record against Chinese teams.
Yeah.
They've always done really well against them because I think Seoul just know, like, the pacing, it's this the sort of like traditional thing that people say, right? Verse or CIS teams play a different pace. They're a much higher pace, especially in the loading stage, and you can tell that they just like outplayed them at every corner. But honestly, if you look at the games, Virtus.pro could even play the slow game; they still outplayed them.
Yeah.
So it's like they're just a much better team, and VGJ Thunder just headless chicken in this final. I feel.
Yeah. Basically, Virtus.pro was very disappointed. It ended up with a mistranslation, ending with one of the great posts from Song Sheng about. Did you read that? He basically broke down the rewarding patterns out of spite.
Yeah. So salty. He had to analyze the team for the other contestants effectively.
That's pretty hilarious to me.
That didn't happen at Bucharest though.
No, it didn't happen in Bucharest. It happened at WSG, but I just thought that was fucking hilarious.
Honestly, I think that's great for the TI season. Like Virtus.pro as the villains, if you want.
But they're not even the villains. They were mistranslated.
They really aren't. They really aren't. But I think it's hilarious. Because it kind of shows what kind of position Chinese Dota is in right now. Like if you look at the table, you could just tell that Chinese are just behind.
Yeah.
At every stage. Yeah, newbie.
No, like
win here.
Like the way I think about it is like they have like the best like mid tier teams all the way up to like top 4, but the best teams are all Western right now.
Yes. And that stinks if you're Chinese.
Yeah.
Like that definitely stinks. And you know,
basically Wings had a miracle themselves for you to win that last TI. What are you gonna do this time?
We shall see.
Yeah.
No, but Virtus.pro, I thought that tournament showed what kind of level Virtus.pro is at the moment.
Yeah.
And especially matchup-wise, I think it's scary that a lot of teams just can't keep up with Virtus.pro. Because Virtus.pro, I think their biggest strength, if anything, is changing their pace at any given moment. Like, they can be really aggressive, and then they can take up the pace of the game. Yeah. And that's like I don't know, that's something that I think teams can't really do at like a high level consistently, and Virtus.pro kind of does it.
Yeah, basically, if basically this all happened after they kicked out Lil to get Roger, and I did an article about it. Basically, like the Roger difference, and Roger, like in terms of skill, in terms of the PRs he's playing, in terms of like how he's matching up in the composition, he's actually way better than Lil ever was, because he's like way more dominant in the early game because he can play Chen, or he could play whatever. A lot of the things Lil did. And then you go into the late game, his like team fight is way better too.
It's actually something that I discussed this with somebody else the other day, but I noticed that if you look at the last, I want to say like 6 years, basically, or just the entirety of Dota 2, right? The 4 position, I think, is one of the most prominent positions to have changed over the couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's also the one to sort of, I think a lot of players struggle to transition from one style of 4 position to another style of 4 position. AY is probably one of the most prominent one. Like
he can't change basically.
Yeah, he was one of the first to sort of like establish like the super greedy 4 position that transitions into a core, right? Like a Skywrath, Naga, Siren, whatever. And he got like super farmed. That was like he was the best at that, but he struggled to become like a heavy roamer, like a solo roamer. And I noticed that with a lot of players actually, and a lot of teams, their response to that is instead of like having their 4 position become better or like adapt to it, they just switch him out.
Yeah.
Like Lil, I think, was definitely one of the best 4 position supports up until a certain point.
Yeah.
And then when they realized that he just didn't keep up anymore, they just switched him out.
Yeah, they kicked him out. I mean, I still think he's good, but it's like that's Dota for you.
I mean, obviously we're talking at like a very high level. I'm not saying that
it's relative to where he was at.
Yeah. And there's only very few 4 position support players actually that constantly are able to keep up with like the change.
Yeah. Very few.
Just something always worth mentioning.
Yeah.
I guess another team worth talking about at this
Optic, event, I guess.
Well,
because Optic killed your team.
Optic killed my team. No, I was actually going to talk about Newbie.
Newbie? Okay, yeah, give me Newbie.
So they 2-0 Secret, which is like, you know, you 2-0 Secret. But then what happens? They get 2-0'd by VGJ Thunder.
Yeah.
I honestly like, and this is not only this event, just in general. If you look at Newbie, their results and their playstyle is so like it's so
Underwhelming.
inconsistent. Like first of all, it's underwhelming, but it's also consistently inconsistent. Like someday they'll show up and they'll be like super good and they'll 2-0 Secret, but then the other day they're gonna get 2-0 by Secret and they're gonna get even 2-1 by Fnatic. Not saying that Fnatic is a bad team,
Yeah.
at all, and we're surely gonna get into that now. But I feel like Newbie is just super inconsistent.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I feel like they've hit like they've hit the point where the returns on keeping a roster for a long time is no longer benefits, is actually negatives.
Yeah, I do think that after TI, it's probably like they need to make changes.
Yeah, like I said it before TI even, but like
Yeah,
definitely, like there was some hope after they beat Liquid in that best of five. It's like, okay, that's pretty legit, but since then they haven't like continued to build on that. They've actually regressed even further down. I feel like they're basically done, as in like I can't expect them to go any farther than what they are now.
it's just so weird. It's just that sometimes they'll just not like show up at all for like an entire series. They have like really weird drafts. Their positioning will be really bad. Their communication, their wording will be really off. And then the other game is just like, oh, we completely read the opponent and we're just completely crushing them.
Yeah.
Like that's I don't know. It's for a top team. That's also one of the reasons why I don't think they're the best Chinese team at all, because like on a good day, yeah, maybe you beat everybody, but on an average day, I still think everybody else is going to be Newbie, or at least challenging Newbie really consistently.
Yeah, I don't think Newbie deserves the title as number 1 Chinese team. Plenty of other teams, like basically it's a weird time in China, to put it that way. Yeah. There's no dominant team. But moving on, I guess we will go to Fnatic, and we'll skip guess Indonesia. I'll just say VGJ Thunder are true choke artists. Oh, I guess we'll go through this. Navi is trash. Navi is trash, and I think I said this when they made the change. Like, yeah, you got the DPC points from Lil, but you should have either gone Sneeko and Lil or Sneeko and LeBron. Do not go Lil and LeBron, and now they are paying the price for that.
Pretty much. They had their magical moment at GEC because they beat Fnatic, and it was a really crazy game. But, like that's
like your miracle moment. Like that's your highest peak, right? Like come on, if that's your highest peak, you are in some fucking trouble. That's what I'll say.
Definitely. The other teams also like. Honestly speaking, this event had some pretty trash teams.
Yeah, it was just a well-run event. It had some memorable games, but I don't think it was that good of an event.
No, Infamous, yeah, they had their like quote unquote miracle run into the not really a miracle run, but they had their run into the semifinals. They even took a game off of VGJ Thunder and made it pretty close in the second game as well. But realistically, again, this competitive field is just not up to like proper standards. Final Tribe is not a team that you want to measure up against. Evil Geniuses, the cleanest victory I could think of, really just 2-0ing Navi, 2-0ing VGJ Thunder, not even challenged at all. Really, Fnatic, if anything, I think this was a really important event actually for Fnatic because they got a little bit of like experience playing against VGJ Thunder. I think is really important. Playing against these top teams is really important, and then they lost to Navi, which it's a bit of a shame because I think they could have really used the experience also against EG. But I think if this event doesn't happen, they don't go on to Dream League and placing second.
And now we go to Dream League, right?
Yeah, Dream League.
Dream League's actually a story about Fanatics. Even though Secret won, everybody thought Secret was going to win. You thought Secret was going to win, right? After Liquid changed?
I mean, definitely. There's no way Secret wouldn't win.
Yeah.
The only team that could have challenged them would have been Liquid. Or maybe Newbie on a good day. But obviously...
And like Fnatic basically had to pull like some miracle Eternal Envy shit to beat them last time.
Yeah. And that just didn't happen. But yeah, Fnatic, honestly, great run. They had some, Let me check. They beat OG, which is like, But they had a pretty close series against Liquid.
The first time around.
They beat Newbie, which I thought was pretty impressive. They beat Liquid then, second time around, which I thought was also pretty impressive. You have to say, Liquid, stand in, and it does make a big difference if you suddenly don't have
Miracle
player in the team.
You have Kuroki instead of Miracle. You have Kuroki jumping in with OD doing nothing. Remember that?
He's not even. That's not even the. Yeah, well, yeah,
that was a terrible moment, but
yeah. But also, having Heen instead of Kuro in the 5 position changes like the whole dynamic.
Yeah.
but still, Fnatic pretty impressive run, pretty good performances as well. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Despite like maybe having weaker opponents like Empire, OG, Sten, and Liquid, they had strong performances across the board from every player. But the finals,
pretty
that's
dominant.
the thing. I think we've talked about this a lot, but you know, there's like the top 3, top 4 teams who have like VP, Liquid, Secret, Newbie, maybe VG, and then there's the rest. Like those teams are so like not really untouchable, but they're so far above the rest that it feels surreal for other teams to really contest them. And you could tell in that finals that Secret was just
Secret was just on another level. Like it didn't really matter what leads they had. Like they just got outplayed in the late game or mid game or whatever. Didn't really matter what kind of rotations they did because like Secret was like reading them or out rotating them or making better trades. It's like just on the fundamental level, not even talking about skill or drafts or anything. Secret was just a better team.
Yeah, and it's a bit unfortunate because I don't think that this 3-0 final sort of like reflects Fnatic's run at all at this event or like even their skill. But if anything, it just shows how strong Secret is and that they're undoubtedly a top 3 team in this world right now.
Yeah, and yeah. Basically, that's about it. But Fnatic did impress me. Basically, like overall,
I think they're like a top 8, at least potentially top 6 team in the world right now.
Yeah.
The way they keep progressing, I think, is the most important, is the most impressive part.
Yeah,
and you can tell that they're so much more comfortable with one another and with their own draft as well. That's I think the most important part. The fact that they have good drafts that are very like they play to their own strength and they have like their own meta, sort of like their own way to approach the game. Yeah. And if anything, you could tell that other teams started copying stuff from what Fnatic did.
Yeah.
Or started doing, right?
Yeah, basically like Fnatic for me is like they want to play around Abed a lot. And so basically Eternal Envy has like completely shifted his style. And he's he's playing really crazy, like really aggressive and really dangerous spots. And like it makes a lot of sense, but I think he's pushing it a bit too far. Like there are times where sometimes he just needs to farm up the Linken's or the Weaver, or times where he just needs another level before he goes ham. But beyond that, like Abed himself, very good player. I think there's still times he's a bit too aggressive, because like if you're playing like this almost 4 protect 1 style, the 1 cannot die. Like no matter what happens, the 1 cannot die. And like sometimes he just dies, but it's not. It sounds worse than it is because he doesn't do it that often. But when he does do it, it's like really bad.
It does happen.
And then Universe is really solid. Like, have no complaints about him.
The supports, man. The supports on this team are incredible.
Yeah,
like, Highlight Eye's wording, DJ's. I don't know. DJ's positioning in team fights as well. It's like it's incredible.
Basically, like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, the way like I think of it supports is they cover different aspects of what being a support is. Yeah. And that's like really fucking good for them because like first off, there's no real support like Pylai Die in a sense. This like weird space creator warding like magnet, like creating rotations on the map. And then there's like DJ, who's like the traditional hard carries, like team wiping out people, initiating, doing all that cool shit.
No, I think Fnatic have a really well-run team right now. Obviously, like you said, there are like rough edges
to be refined.
You could argue at pretty much every position as well. Like
we
praise DJ and Paladin, but obviously there's stuff that they can improve on as well. But that's why I think they're like a top 8, potentially top 6 team in the world right now, because they are so well-rounded at the moment. Like I could legitimately not think of a way to improve this team right now, unless we're talking like
unless we're like talking like, oh, we're gonna kick out Abed for Miracles. Oh, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yes, you do that.
But legitimately, I think this is a really strong team right now, and it's kind of scary, honestly, for the other teams. And especially Southeast Asian teams, because if you're Southeast Asia right now, you hope Fnatic gets more points in the coming weeks. They need more points to get a top 8 placement, so they don't have to play Fnatic in the qualifiers.
Yeah,
I imagine if this Fnatic doesn't get into qualifiers, then SEA region is fucked.
Well, it's only 50%, so I think they have plenty of time.
Well, yeah.
And here's the thing: is among all these like middle of the pack teams, I think Fnatic is the only one truly improving. I think EG's basically been stuck in a rut, and they're better than the rest, but they're still stuck there. I think, given this progression, Fnatic's going to surpass them eventually.
I will say for EG that the way they've been playing Dota, at least at GEC,
which is like a smaller event, like we both pointed that out.
Which is a smaller event, and yeah, there's reasons why you shouldn't necessarily read too much into it. But I think if this is sort of the level that they can keep up, like even against top teams, that could be scary. Like that kind of level of performance that they showed at GAC was actually pretty impressive. At least the way they approached Dota. And I'm not saying that obviously again.
Yeah,
Competition was not great,
yeah. The way they approached it was better. I'll give them that. But like I said, I'm not reading too much into it. I'm waiting because like this is I'm still very iffy about this team, even though like Misery is a captain figure. He's not necessarily one like that like makes me think, oh, this guy is gonna be like a god tier captain one day.
Yeah, but we shall see.
Yeah.
I guess the next tournament will be a better sort of like tell in terms of like power in the world.
Because we're going to DAC, right?
We're going to a proper major. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
That's we've had a couple of tournaments now that had really like shit events or shit formats, shit whatever. But this is going to be a proper tournament finally. And even format aside, just the fact that we have 16 teams or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's such a long format as well. Like DAC takes their time. It's like what, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, basically it's like a true. This was like a major before the major. It's like a TI. It's like a TI level event nearly.
Except they have Invictus Gaming.
I don't know how the fuck IG got in here, dude. Like, how the fuck?
Because they're the title defender. They got auto-invited because they're technically the DAC
champions. I guess they have like 3 out of 5 or whatever, but it's like, come on, guys. Come on, guys.
But yeah, anyway, since we don't really know the groups, I think it's just worth talking about like who we have like as a favorites, I guess.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's pretty straightforward with like Liquid, Secret, VP up there.
Liquid, Secret, VP, then VG. Those are the 4,
sure.
Right?
Well, you could argue VGJ Thunder as well because
I guess VGJ Thunder is very close.
We know they're at least semifinal material.
Yeah, and then they choke, and then they need the Heimlich maneuver, and then they like forget who they are, what they're doing. Like it was all a dream, sort of moment for them. They wake up in the playoffs and then die. Like that's VGJ Thunder. Let's see here.
LGD, I think, is also a scary team to look up for.
They've been pretty good, but
they've been pretty good. The thing is, we don't know how good they really are because they've only done well against like
China.
I mean, they've had that. What was it, Starlet or something? Where they played second against Liquid or something, and then ever since then, we've only seen them inside of China, and where they did beat everybody. They literally just beat everybody to qualify for Epicenter in China. So that was pretty impressive. But outside of that, we don't really know how they're going to fare against international teams. But generally speaking, LGD has a history of doing well online on LAN, so I think this is a team to look out for. Potentially even going to be better than VGJ Thunder or even Vici. Vici is also prone to choke.
Yeah, both VGs choke. It's true. It's true.
Maybe it's part of the brand or something.
Yeah,
you sign a contract, you have to choke. Optic, I don't know, man. I thought they're on the up and up, but seeing them online again is just like, I mean, they did beat EG yesterday or something, but
then they lost to VGJ America or something.
Storm.
Yeah.
To be fair, VGJ Storm is pretty impressive right now, but I do think that again, CCNC, I praised him in Bucharest, and rightfully so, I think, because he had a pretty strong tournament performance.
Yeah.
And Katowice as well, but
he's iffy. He's iffy to me, dude. Like he
disappears randomly sometimes, and he's just not present in the game whatsoever.
Like the way like if you heard the cast, basically like Kyle was casting, he's like the answer to beating Optic is you got to kill Pycat at least more than 3 times. Like CCNC isn't really a factor, basically, and that's like a huge problem.
I've heard him say that before when they were prepping for Optic, and that's kind of one of those things where if you can say that about a team legitimately and you're not even like joking or something, that's a huge problem. And you could tell that in a lot of games. I mean, Complexity has played Optic a lot of times, right?
Yeah. And
I've watched that matchup a lot of times, and a lot of times CCG just gets shit on by Limp. Not to say Limp isn't a good player. He is a fantastic player.
But you shouldn't be like getting shit on multiple that hard, right?
Exactly. And that's a huge issue for Optic Gaming.
Yeah, basically, like I actually think 3-3 is a very good offlaner. Like he's not.
For sure.
So I have no problems with 3-3. I actually think like the shit you were talking about Pycat like before this all started, that's all come true basically. Like PBD has figured out how to use Pycat, how to integrate him to the system. PBD himself, I don't think he's the best, but he has a specific style that's useful. Zai has proven he's still pretty good. The obvious kick is CCNC right now.
It kind of feels like Fnatic pre-Abed.
Yes.
With Excalibur, right? Where you think to yourself, hey, if we only replace this dude with a mechanically super skilled, like much more reliable person, we're gonna win tournaments. Because suddenly the whole dynamic shifts. Because you don't have to worry about your mid lane anymore. Suddenly the mid laner is actually going to be the one that shits on the other mid laner.
Yeah, because if you have a mid laner that shits on the other mid laner, you have so much freedom, so much space for everybody else.
No, completely different game. Completely different game. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of, like, there's actually no, I can't even think of a mid laner. Resolution. Him and Pyke on a team.
Yeah, that wouldn't work, obviously, but that's like they don't play the same style. Like, who else could you steal though? Like, it's very hard, isn't it? Like, there's not a lot of choices right now.
It's not a lot of choices right now. You would have, if anything, to look at like some of the teams that are not gonna make the top 8 but that have like ambitions. But then you look at, you know, those players aren't necessarily better than CCNC.
Yeah, that's the problem is they really need. Maybe they should roll the dice on some random C mid again. Like, some people have done that multiple times and it's kind of worked out.
I mean, if you could steal, for example, like Armel or even Cuckoo from TNC.
Yeah, I think both of them are very good, right?
TNC would have been super insane. But obviously, that roster itself is currently doing pretty well.
Yeah, basically.
Very, like,
I think TNC is going to be the second best C team soon.
Probably, yeah. I mean, Mineski is not putting up much of a fight right now. It's really rough. I'm not sure Optic is going to make a roster change going into TI.
I think they should.
If they could, I think that would be a really sick team.
Yeah.
Or, you know, CCNC just steps it up. Who knows? Maybe they will for DAC. Who knows? I mean, again, on LAN he was pretty good.
Yeah. We'll have to see, I guess. Like, he still has some time, I guess, to prove himself. But I'm basically on the sell. I'm on the sell side right now. CCNC.
I'm definitely on the sell side as well.
Yeah. All right, and then I guess we'll talk about disappointments, because that's all there is left. Actually, EG's not a disappointment; they're just there. But the rest of the teams are pretty disappointing, or not. Actually, no, Liquid's pretty good. Did we talk about Liquid? Basically, they're still the same as ever, so there's not much to talk about, is there?
There's not really much to talk about because we didn't really see Liquid at like Dream League in their like full strength. So,
yeah, so there's nothing really.
I think if anything, it just like. It's worth noting that Mind Control is still one of the best players in the world.
Always was. I thought he was the best Liquid player.
He is still probably. That's why I said second best player was Miracle.
Yeah.
Because I actually think that Mind Control. Well, actually, there's
you went for GH. You went for GH over Miracle.
I know. There's arguments to be made between GH and Miracle, but Mind Control I think is definitely the best player on that team. He is incredible. Disappointments for DAC, I guess.
The disappointment is going to be OG. Still don't have they kicked Resolution and haven't found the player either. Like, I'm not sure what they're thinking actually, because if I understand where they're coming from. Like, they think they hit a ceiling, right? And so like they've never kicked the other 4. They always kick the 5th guy, so it has to be him, right? So that's fine, but who else is there?
Thompson. I think that's the heaviest. That's like the most prominent rumor right now. Thompson, formerly of, I don't actually know which team he was in, but he's a sort of Ana Miracle type player. Like he's like a pop star that sort of was in the pro scene, but never really like had a huge breakthrough. And he's super talented. Like his Invoker is one of the sort of like he's like. You know, if you go to Dota Buff right now and look up an Invoker build, there's likely going to be like a quote-unquote Thompson build. And that's the kind of play he is, right? He's like, not necessarily an innovator, but he has like his own style. And that's, I think, something that OG has done really well with. Adopting like a sort of like a raw diamond. I mean, Ana and Miracle literally were raw diamonds when they took them in. And then they formed them into pretty much proper diamonds. Or at least they got the best out of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're going to be able to do with a player like that. I'm not sure why it didn't work out with Resolution, but if I had to assume, it likely is because Resolution is just not a raw player anymore. He's a sort of like a done player, right? He has his own ideas of how to play the game. He was a captain previously as well. He's like a leading voice, and odds are they just didn't agree on how to play Dota together. Like maybe they had different ideas of how they wanted to play Dota, and I think if they pick up like a raw diamond, they can form. I think that's where Fly and Notel thus far have sort of like been the best.
Yeah. Also, I'll give a shout out to No Tail dying to a neutral creep as Huskar. Listen, that is hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. I don't give a fuck.
Good to know that this happens to pros as well.
Yeah. That is hilarious. I'm never gonna skip over that. That's just too funny to me. Basically, I think that covers it. Like, Keen has returned randomly, so we'll see how they do. But
Keen Gaming.
Yeah, was there?
Keen Gaming is also going to be a huge disappointment. Or I mean, is it really a disappointment if you don't have any expectations?
No, I don't think it's a disappointment. I think like them getting here is good, straight up. Like it's good for them.
Mineski is probably going to be a huge disappointment. Not for me anyway, because I don't have expectations for them. But
yeah, I think there'll be disappointments. Pain, I don't think they have a lot of like hopes for them anyway, no. And neither does Effect. So I think OG is going to be the disappointment.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Honestly, I think TNC is actually going to do really well here.
I like TNC.
Plays like tops 8.
Yeah, I think TNC actually made the right move and getting Amrel. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, I think that about covers it. This one was pretty fast.
Yeah, same.
All right. Got any shout outs?
No, I'm good. How about you?
All right. Me neither. Good enough. See you guys later.